Mark and Chloe were curled up on the worn leather sofa in their modest flat in the sleepy town of Ashford, watching some mindless reality show. Mark was ready to call it a night. He leaned over to kiss Chloe gently on the cheek. "Good night," he whispered, the words dripping with the same love he'd said every evening for the past 2 years. But tonight was different. Chloe didn't smile or return the affection. Instead, she wore a strange, serious expression. She grabbed the remote, muted the TV, and turned to face Mark squarely. His stomach did a little nervous flip. This wasn't about what to have for dinner. She looked deep into his eyes and said, "Mark, I like you. I really do. But I'm not in love with you." The words hung between them like a thick fog. It was less a breakup and more a corporate memo. A downgrade from boyfriend to something less defined, less intimate. Like suddenly being told your subscription's terms had changed, but without the option to cancel. Mark, a systems analyst by day, was used to parsing complex data and logic. Emotional ambiguity was his kryptonite, so he processed her statement like a cold fact. Chloe liked him, but wasn't in love. Acknowledged. "Thanks for the clarification," he said softly, standing up and heading to bed without a fuss. Behind him, he felt her eyes like a laser beam. She expected drama, tears, maybe begging. But Mark gave her none of it. Just quiet, calm acceptance. Later, as he lay awake staring at the ceiling, his phone buzzed. A group chat notification from Chloe's circle of friends, still logged in on the shared tablet in the living room. He didn't need to look. He already knew. She was reporting to her board of directors, seeking validation for her bold announcement. Minutes later, Chloe slipped into the bedroom, thinking he was asleep. The pale glow of her phone illuminated her face as her thumbs tapped out messages. Cheers poured in from her friends praising her bravery and maturity. She had invented a new relationship model. All the benefits of stability, home, and income, none of the messy, inconvenient obligations called love. She thought she was clever. She had no idea she'd just activated a termination clause. Mark was about to become the most efficient, emotionally detached roommate Chloe had ever known. The game was on. She set the rules. He'd play by them with ruthless precision. A week had passed since Chloe's brave confession, and Mark's transformation was complete. The man who once brewed her morning coffee with a smile, who whispered sweet nothings and planned surprise weekends, was gone. In his place stood a roommate, polite, distant, and utterly indifferent. The morning after the announcement, Mark rose at dawn, slipping out of bed without a word. Usually, his first act was a tender good morning kiss, but not today. Instead, he shuffled into the kitchen and brewed a pot of coffee just for himself. No special blend, no cream or sugar, just black coffee, as bitter as the new dynamic between them. He poured a mug, packed the rest into a thermos, and left the empty pot on the counter like a silent message. "Don't expect me to make your coffee anymore." Clad in a crisp white shirt and neatly pressed trousers, Mark tossed a casual "have a good day" over his shoulder as he left.
No kiss.
No, I love you. Just the kind of neutral civility one might offer a coworker at the office. Chloe blinked, stunned. This was not the Mark she knew at first. Chloe seemed relieved, almost buoyant. No pressure, no expectations. She had successfully friend-zoned her boyfriend without sacrificing their flat or lifestyle. But the cracks began to show quickly. Friday afternoon, she flicked him a text. "Hey, the girls and I are thinking of trying that new Italian place tonight. Can you book us a table for 8? Mark's reply was cold and brief. "Sorry, busy tonight. You should call them directly. They're usually booked up." A single question mark from Chloe, then silence. That weekend, Mark's roommate protocol kicked into high gear. He did his laundry, only his laundry. He bought groceries only for himself. No gluten-free bread, no overpriced almond milk she loved, no tempting snacks. When Chloe wandered into the kitchen, dressed in a soft, slinky black silk blouse that clung to her curves, paired with skinny jeans and ankle boots that clicked softly on the linoleum floor, she asked, puzzled, "Did you go shopping?" "Yep," Mark said, slicing chicken breast with surgical precision, not even glancing up. "You didn't get any of my stuff." It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. "Oh, sorry," Mark replied, His tone as polite as a stranger who just cut in front of you in the queue at the post office. Just stuck to my list. Want the receipt? I can send you a picture so you know what your half of the shared items like paper towels comes to. Shock and outrage flickered across Chloe's face. The same face she used to bat her lashes at him when she wanted a favor. Now, it was just a roommate's expression of disbelief. By Sunday, the final straw appeared. Chloe leaned against Mark's office doorframe, her auburn hair tousled from a restless night, wearing a loose gray sweater that slipped off one shoulder, revealing the delicate curve of her collarbone. My car's acting up again, she said, voice tight. I think you should take a look. Don't want to get ripped off. Mark swiveled in his chair, eyes calm and neutral. Sounds stressful. I'd recommend getting a few quotes before any big repairs. Yelp's good for finding reputable garages. He turned back to his screen. Chloe stared, mouth slightly open. The man who once spent Sundays under her bonnet, who had a trusted mechanic on speed dial, was now just a busy roommate. She finally huffed and left. Mark wasn't being cruel. He was literal. She said she liked him, so he treated her like a friend, a roommate. He gave friends advice. He didn't give them his Sunday afternoons. The emotional currency had evaporated. The I love you economy was defunct, and Mark was simply adjusting to the new balance sheet. Chloe's attempts to provoke a reaction came in waves. Her voice rising in the quiet flat, her belongings left scattered like emotional landmines. But Mark remained a gray rock, polite and distant. She thought she'd taken love off the table. She was beginning to realize she'd cleared the whole darn table, plates and all. A full month had slipped by since Chloe's candid confession, and the roommate protocol was no longer an experiment. It was a relentless reality. Mark's polite indifference had morphed into a fortress around him, and Chloe was trapped on the wrong side. Her birthday arrived quietly, a stark contrast to the elaborate celebrations of years past. Once, Mark would have been up at dawn crafting plans. Surprise brunch at that quaint cafe down by the river. A weekend escape to the Cotswolds. A thoughtful gift wrapped in silk paper. This year he merely rolled over, eyes still heavy with sleep, and said, "Happy birthday, Chloe. Hope you have a great day." Chloe lay back on the pillow, dressed in a simple, figure-hugging emerald dress that caught the light just right. Her bare legs crossed beneath the comforter. Her eyes searched his face, disbelief flickering like a candle in a draft. She waited, expecting the other shoe to drop, the flowers, the whispered plans. Nothing came. Later, in the kitchen, she approached him while he mixed a protein shake, his movements deliberate and detached. "So, any plans for my birthday?" she asked, voice trembling with a fragile hope. Mark turned to her with the mild curiosity of someone asked about the weather. "No, just work and then the gym. Did you have something in mind?" "Well, I thought, maybe we'd do something. You know, together." She stammered. He smiled. The kind of friendly, non-threatening smile you give a neighbor whose cat's been stuck in a tree for days. "I figured you'd be celebrating with your friends, the people you're close with. But hey, if you want, I can grab a pizza and we can watch a movie, like friends do." He stressed the word friends with surgical precision. Birthday celebrations were for lovers, not for people who just liked each other. That evening, Chloe curled up on the couch scrolling through her phone, dressed in soft cotton pajamas that hugged her slender frame, the faint scent of jasmine from the candle she lit filling the room. Mark sat nearby, fingers tapping away on his laptop. Her social media was buzzing with happy birthday, Queen, messages from her friends, public praise, but no real plans, no invitations. The silence between them was deafening. Financial realities soon bit too. Mark had been quietly unraveling the shared life they'd built. Paying for dates, holidays, her car insurance, her phone bill. All relics of a love that was now on hold. One day, Chloe's phone went dead. Panicked, she confronted Mark. He looked up calmly, sipping his black coffee. "Oh right. I took my card off the family plan since we're not really a family anymore. You'll need to set up your own account." Her face drained of color. Freelance graphic design gigs barely covered her shopping habits. And now she was footing bills alone. Desperation crept in. She tried to provoke him. Leaving her things strewn across the flat, loud sad songs blaring through the living room. Mark responded by quietly piling her clutter on her side of the bedroom, donning noise-canceling headphones. Then came the night that marked the protocol's darkest hour. Chloe stumbled in after a night out, her hair tousled, cheeks flushed with drink, wearing one of Mark's old, oversized shirts that slipped off one shoulder, revealing just enough skin to be dangerously inviting, but her eyes were heavy with sorrow. She perched on the edge of the bed and whispered, "I miss you. I miss us." Mark set his book down, regarding her with the mild concern of a neighbor whose dog just ran off. "That sounds tough, Chloe. Have you thought about seeing a therapist? Sometimes talking to someone impartial can really help." His voice was clinical, detached, the emotional equivalent of handing a broken leg a plaster cast. Her tears stopped. She stared at him, horror dawning. This wasn't the man she knew. This was the system she'd unleashed, cold, logical, unyielding. Chloe's brave honesty had freed Mark from the chains of love, and now he was free to be exactly what she asked for. A roommate. She thought she was being brave. She was just being stupid. The silence screamed louder than any words ever had, and the final crash was imminent. 2 weeks later, the flat in Ashford felt like a mausoleum of what once was. Chloe's spirited attempts to break through Mark's wall had dwindled to desperate whispers and hollow gestures. The once vibrant space, where laughter had danced between them, was now filled with a cold, sterile quiet that seemed to stretch on forever. Mark arrived home one evening, still dressed in his gym gear, a fitted navy tracksuit that hugged his broad shoulders, his damp hair pushed back in a casual way that somehow made him look effortlessly composed. He found Chloe sitting at the kitchen table, her hair pulled into a loose bun, dark circles beneath her eyes betraying sleepless nights. She stared at the lease renewal document sprawled before her, fingers tracing the bold letters like they held some secret salvation. "We need to talk," she said softly, voice cracking. Mark dropped his gym bag by the door and nodded. "All right, what's on your mind? Are we renewing the lease?" Her eyes widened, the color draining from her face. "You're not." "I'm not," he said simply, voice calm but firm. "What? Where are we going to live?" she asked, panic creeping in. Mark folded his arms, leaning against the counter, his tone steady. "I've already signed a lease on a new place, a one-bedroom closer to the office. I move in next month." She stared, the weight of reality crashing down like a tidal wave. The man who had once been her lover, her partner, was now her landlord's notice and eviction all rolled into one. "You're leaving me?" she stammered, disbelief thick in her voice. Mark feigned confusion. "Leaving you? No. Our living arrangement is ending. We're roommates, remember? When one moves out, it's rare for the other to sign a new lease together. I found a place that fits me better. I assumed you'd do the same." That was the breaking point. Tears spilled over, anger flared, and the carefully constructed mask of victimhood crumbled. "This isn't fair. You're punishing me. I told you I made a mistake. I told you I loved you." "No, you didn't," Mark corrected gently. "You told me you liked me, but that you weren't in love. I believed you. I adjusted my life accordingly. I'm not punishing you. I'm respecting your honesty." She sobbed, begging for things to go back to the way they were. Mark's voice grew colder, edged with steel. "You want the man who loved you, the one who cooked, planned surprises, paid the bills, but without the love you owed back. You wanted a unicorn, devoted, but requiring nothing in return. That's not a relationship. That's a service. And I'm no longer on call." He let the words hang in the air, watching as comprehension dawned. Then, with a slow, deliberate motion, he reached for a small velvet box sitting on the counter. Her eyes lit with desperate hope, the wild flicker of a last chance. He opened it. Inside was no ring, just a single shiny key on a plain metal ring. "This is the key to my new apartment," he said, holding it up. "It's got a great view." The hope in her eyes died instantly, replaced by utter defeat. She'd gambled everything on a love that was unconditional. She'd just learned the price of that illusion. It could be taken back. She sank into her chair, staring at the lease renewal, a stark reminder that her problem was now hers alone. Mark left her there and retreated to his office, The silence that filled the flat no longer loud, just empty. 30 days remained as roommates. Then, he'd be free. Chloe got exactly what she wanted. A life with a man who wasn't in love with her. But as Mark sat alone in the dim glow of his computer screen, a new message popped up, from an unknown number, cryptic and chilling. You think this is over? You don't know the half of it. The game, it seemed, was far from finished. The flickering glow of Mark's laptop screen cast sharp shadows across his face as he stared at the mysterious message. The unknown number haunted him like a ghost in the machine. You think this is over? You don't know the half of it. His fingers hovered above the keyboard, hesitation knotting his thoughts. Who was this? A friend? A foe? Or someone from Chloe's hidden circle, pulling strings behind the scenes? Outside, the rain tapped relentlessly against the window pane, a steady rhythm matching the pounding of his heart. Mark leaned back in his chair, the leather creaking beneath him, and ran a hand through his damp hair. The quiet apartment suddenly felt smaller, more suffocating. Earlier that evening, Chloe had been a shadow of herself. Dressed in a delicate, pale blue slip dress that fell just below her knees, the thin straps revealing the graceful lines of her shoulders. Her bare feet barely made a sound as she moved through the flat, her eyes hollow, clutching at the hope that Mark might relent. But he hadn't. Now alone, Mark's mind raced through every conversation, every moment he'd shared with Chloe. Was there something he'd missed? A sign? A warning? Or was this message the first hint of a storm he hadn't yet seen coming? He typed a cautious reply. Who is this? Seconds later, the phone buzzed again. Someone who knows what you're really capable of. Be ready. Mark. A chill slid down his spine. Mark closed the laptop with a snap, the soft click echoing like a gunshot in the stillness. He stood, stretching, tension coiling in his shoulders. The quiet war with Chloe had been exhausting. But this felt like the beginning of a new battle. One where the rules were unknown, and the stakes were higher than ever. Outside, the night deepened, swallowing the streetlights, hiding secrets in the shadows. Mark glanced back at the door, wondering what waited beyond. Because one thing was clear, the roommate protocol was just the beginning. And whatever was coming next, it wasn't going to be polite.